Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our weekly connection. And I want to remind you, it's a connection. Even though we study something, we understand something, we connected to something, we are together, but it's really a connection. It's really making a connection through the wisdom. There's many people who do different connections, with themselves, with others, but our unique moment in time, which is, to whatever extent all of us are still connected, is through this wisdom. And therefore we want to make sure that we are connected into what we need to receive to our life, a message or a thread that is connected to what we need to learn, what we need to understand, and how we need to influence others. Reminding you, cosmically, this coming Wednesday night, we enter into a new era, new sphere, new energy, that is available, called the new moon of Cancer, Tamuz, which is, I'll share with you, I will record on Wednesday night, and I'll share with you with our group as well. Stay tuned to what is the opportunity, what is the energy that we want to be prepared to, because we know not a coincidental why the Cancer moon, why is it the Cancer sign, name Cancer like the cancer that people are struggling and afraid of, right? So is there a correlation, is there a connection? Why is that same name? What does that mean? And we're going to build up for that, and not coincidental as well. This week we are dealing with what we learn, almost like a very powerful story, but that represent negative story, right? A negative connotation, negative situation, from someone that's supposedly very connected, right? His name is Korach. Interesting enough, I spoke about it in Shabbat, that the week before, the last week was about the spies. The week before was a story in the Torah that represents what we call por'anut. It was a little bit, really not an easy story about Miriam, the sister of Moses, had chaos because she started speaking bad about her brother. A week after, we're talking about the spy that also spoke bad about the land of Israel and spoke bad about Moses, and they died, right? Miriam had leprosy. Comes this week with Korach. His name was Korach. He was the head leaders of the Levite tribes. Comes to Moses, the big stories we share every year, but every year we're learning another point of view, another spin to that story. But as well, remind you, even if it was last year, we are not the same. So it's not the same story or not the same message. So comes Korach, have a claim to Moses. And that, where he came from a place of almost like we call it machloket, division. And therefore, because a person like that in that level came from separation, right away he brought destruction. The land opened, earthquake happened underneath him, and 250 people died. And then after that there was a plague, almost like 14,000 people, 700 were in a dying plague. Destruction after destruction. So again, and one of the Kabbalists, and he asked, wait a second, one after the other, didn't they learn, right? How come they didn't learn from Miriam in a very cute story, in a very non-threatening way? She got cause and effect. Didn't they learn the spies, very much leaders, and then the leaders went and speak bad, and then Korach didn't learn, we just read about it, right? The idea is that sometimes most of us, we thinking, is statistically 1 in a million. We are just not one of those millions, right? It's not going to happen to us. All of us thinking it's happening to other people. But reminding you that our life is accumulation of many little moments. Sometimes it feels like insignificant moments. Sometimes it's like, it was just an argument and that's it. Oh, it was just a little bit problem that we overcome and everything is good. If you're in relationship, you know it's not everything is good, even if you continuing. If you have a friend that say, oh yeah, we have a fallout and we made peace and everything is good. You know that is not always what you think that is moved on, right? So if you understand that, every nuance, every word matter in your spiritual, what we call accumulation. It's not one moment that spikes you up and you're like superstar, and from then on it's just downhill. That's not the point. That's not what we're building on. It's accumulation. So every lesson or every warning sign telling you, hey, in 50 meter, like when you drive in the street, right? In the highway, there's a construction on the road. In 100 meter, in 50 meter, in 10 meter, it's coming, So you need to be prepared what's going on. Like that in life. So Korach is our warning sign for the entire world. And I want to give you a few ideas that are super important because, one, the situation that happened with Korach once in this universe, will never happen again. Will never happen again. Why never happen again? Korach came to Moses and claimed that he is supposed to be the high priest. The problem is, he was right. And therefore, he was so wrong. Because he came from a place of, I'm right. And I own it. It belongs to me. Meaning, majority or all where he came from is a place of pilug, place of division. Place of division. And therefore, the land could not handle him because it was so powerful. And the influence of powerful people, and like all of us in your life, it has magnitude. It has influence. Listen, even if you are not that powerful, right? You have family, you have friends, it's influencing them what you do and what you're not doing. Here we're talking about for generation the influence. So, what will never happen again? That one is right completely and one is wrong completely. From then on, there is no situation that when you have an argument with someone, you're a little bit right and you're a little bit wrong. That's from now on. You should know. Even if you are so sure you have all the right way and you are the righteous one, never going to happen again. Since the lesson of Korach, you have to understand that. Because sometimes when we are so right, sometimes we can put people down. So it's not about being right. Majority of when I talk to people, sometimes I don't want to talk to people that know too much. Why? Because it's so hard to teach somebody that come to teach you. Some people sometimes come to meet with me, and they teach me, right? So thank you. I would book a session with you, but if you come to learn Kabbalah, maybe take the I know and how you sure about that, take it aside. Maybe you can learn something else, right? So, because of Korach, now the situation is completely different. And that's a beautiful understanding to have. So, when we're talking about Korach, what was the problem and what is the lesson that we can really gravitate and take and get changed by that message? The portion starts, says, Vayikach Korach. And Korach took. What did he take? Right? This week, there's a tremendous force, universal power that is been pouring to this reality that we want to gravitate and affiliate with that type of energy. What does it mean? The word Korach is a code. Of course, it's a name of a person, but if you flip the letter Korach, you get the word Choker. Choker is interrogator. Interrogator, right? Anybody like to be interrogated? Nobody likes to be interrogated, even with your loved one, right? Or even if you are so right about everything, nobody likes that. This week, we want to be the interrogator. Interrogator for what? You need that energy to be a good interrogator. To where is your starting point? What is your agenda? Why am I doing what I'm about to do? To investigate where you're coming from, not where other people's motive is. Because that's very clear. When you try to find out what other people's motive is to help you, to be with you, to do this and that, you're wasting your time, because their motive eventually in time will be revealed. Don't worry about it, It's eventually floating to the surface. That's no way they can hide it. The problem is when you try to hide your motive. Why am I even teaching this class? Why do I need to do that? Why am I drinking the water? Oh, I'm thirsty. No. What am I trying to take, to receive, we call it to receive, from what I'm about to do? Why am I complaining? Yeah, because all the right reasons. Check, interrogate your desires. Where are you coming from? This week. Most of us are asking one or two questions and like, yeah, I'm okay, continuing. Or we didn't get an answer and we keep doing it. Why are you in relationship with this individual? Why you even come to study? What is your intention of going to work? Or why are you going and talking to your and talking to your boss? What is your intention in talking to this girl or to this guy? Why are you going to this club? Why are you part of this group? You need to interrogate. Don't do because of them or because of this or because of that. What is your motive? You have to remember that. And the second one of this week that you want to receive the power, the energy for, the force to change the effects in your life. The force, the power to change the effects of your life. The influence of your life. This is what you receive. By how? By changing the internal reason. What is your starting point? What is the starting point? Can be two places. Taking or giving. And I'm using the word taking. It says, Vayikach Korach. Korach took. He didn't say he received. Now let me just create a very clear division over here between taking and receiving. Right? Think about it. I take the cup to my hand. I receive the cup. What sounds better? I want to be a receiver. I want to be the receiver. Right? We all want to receive. But literally mean taking. Because there's a different over here. It's a different understanding. And once you call the baby in its name, now you know how to deal with that. Now you know what to overcome. Every time there is a taking mentality, a taker consciousness, and nobody gonna come and says, I came to take. No. Nobody gonna present themselves this way, right? But when you have people like that in your life, are such a takers, right? They're, any takers for what I'm offering, right? That's how people talk. But they don't know. Taking, lakachat, There is a consciousness behind this word. It's an activation for forces that you don't want in any engagement of your life. Why? Because taking that is engaging in everything you do eventually will translate as chaos. Eventually will be translated as something is wrong, as division. It will translate as some lack, some short fulfillment. Anytime there is a taking consciousness, there is no peace of mind. You're never going to have peace of mind. There is no way as a taker consciousness, taker mentality, to have peace of mind. You're always going to have worries. You're always going to think somebody's there to get you. You always think that everybody's wrong and you are right, because there's taking mentality. Somebody take advantage of you. That is because you had a taking consciousness yesterday, from your girlfriend even, from your boyfriend. The difference between when we're saying I want to be a receiver is that when you're activating receiving, in receiving there is the energy or the ability to receive, but for the sake of sharing, for the sake of helping, for the sake of influencing. I only receive because I want to share. In taking, buying within that word, it's already a dead end. You take and it died. The only inevitable way is to open the land and swallow everything up. That's taking. That's why it's represented by Korach that the land was open and didn't say they fell into it. It's vativla aretz, and the land swallowed them. Boom, vacancy, immediately. So please understand that the thing that doesn't manifest in your life, let's say you go on dates, right? You go on a date. Are you in a giving or are you in taking? If you're honest with yourself, it's all about taking. It's all about taking. If you're honest, if not, so you call it like, yeah, I'm going to share and this and that. It's kind, it's nice. That's what they want me, and that's how I want them. Please, you need to be interrogator to yourself. Don't pretend or think, no, I'm just going to give. To really make that the shift, you need to be aware of the taking. Why? Because lakachat, right, is lekach, is a lesson. Every time you take, lakachat, the word lakachat is taking, right, to take. Vaikach Korach, and Korach took. It's within that word, you hear the word lekach. Lekach is very tough lesson to learn. Very difficult lessons to learn. Different morals will be challenged when you're taking. You bring upon yourself lekachim kashim, very tough lessons, as opposed to changing that. You know, if there is a way for you to really, at least if you can come as a giver, come as a receiver, but for the sake of sharing that lesson. But stay away from taking. Please do this work this week, because taking is really a crucial moment of where shift happening or not. If you have taker, things are not manifesting as fast, as best, as beautiful. This is first level that we're talking about. Another thing is, they asked, like many Kabbalists ask, what did he take? They say he took bad advice. Etza ra'a. He took a bad advice. Etzah is advice, but also comes from the word etz, which is a tree. Tree, we're talking about the tree, we spoke about it the last week. Tree represent the tree of life in Kabbalah, which what? There are trees that bear fruit. If you take the right advice, etzah tova, if you take the right advice, the advice you took bear fruits. If you take bad advice, there are bad fruits, right? So now, how do I know I take bad advice? Or I take Atzat Hashem, I want the advice of the Creator advice, the advice of the light. What does it mean? This is how we differentiate. Rav Ashlag, the Kabbalists, explain that Etzah Ra'a, bad advice, melubash betoch hada'at. Bad advice is a logical advice. Is advice that is very much fragmented and limited in influence. But it makes sense to us. Atzat Hashem, how do I know that I'm receiving advice of the Creator? It's beyond logic. It's beyond my understanding. It's beyond my reality. I know this is the advice I want. Because over there is no taking. To get there, I need to become complete immersed within that sharing and giving and energy of influencing. There is no more place to take over there. So obviously, I'm interested for myself to hear the right advices. So like I started in the beginning. Sometime, how do I know that I'm taking wrong advice? Is when you sit and you interrogate yourself. Please understand, you are your own interrogator. And to ask yourself, wait a second, why do you take that advice? Because I know I'm right. Boom! It's a sign. You have to listen to yourself, right? No, because I'm absolutely right about it. Boom. Remembered Korach. He was so right. He had all the right reasons. He was knowing all. And everybody, actually, the problem is, Korach had thousands of people around him that approve his opinion. That's the problem. Imagine that all your followers approve your opinion and you are right, but you are completely wrong because you're taking that advice that is, I know and I'm sure, and you're not considering something beyond your logic, beyond what you understand. And therefore, this is the challenge that we have. That's how we're expanding. That's how we growing ourselves. So this is another indication that we can work on ourselves to know when we take in bad advice. Then there was a beautiful moment. Moses, hearing Korach, and right away he saw what about to happen because he realized the guy doesn't get it. That was the message from the Creator. It's not me. It's not personal. Korach thought there was a personal agenda of Moses. He says, no, I'm just a messenger here. It's nothing to do with you, Korach. And Moses fell on his face, fell down and tell him, please understand the Creator creates for you a reality where you can influence so much. Why is not enough for you? Take what the market give you. Don't claim for something that doesn't belong to you, because if you chase after something that doesn't belong to you, you lose what you chase after and what really belongs to you. You understand? You lose both. Whatever you're chasing after that doesn't belong to you, and what belongs to you, you're already losing. So really, please understand that Moses today, in this week, is begging to all of us. Why are you chasing after this relationship? Why are you trying to prove a point? Why are you trying to chase after those investors that are not belong to you? That money doesn't belong to you. You chase after that, you're going to lose that money and the money that's in your company right now. How many times I'm seeing that? Chasing after what? Shining. That's what Moses tells him. And what does he say to him? Umadua. Al titnas'u al ka'al Hashem. Please tell Korach, no matter how important of a person you are, don't be arrogant. Don't be pretentious. Don't go into this type of like, how you call it, snobbing. I'm better. I know. Lower yourself. Because this type of level, of condescending, this is never going to let you see that you're chasing after the wrong thing and you're wasting your life and a very precious time and very much resources that you're investing into the wrong direction. So again, this is what Korach saying, Moses tell him. And then he says that Moses spoke to Korach, Vaidaber el Korach, and Moses spoke to Korach, ve'el kol adato, and all his congregation. But adato we learned for years. It's a code for da'ato. Adato, da'ato. You flip the letter, you get da'ato, which is what? Opinions. He had so many opinions of why he's so right. And Moses needed to help him and said, listen, I want you to know I'm speaking to all your different opinions that you came with, and all of them stems from taking. No good. By the way, his 250 people died right away, and 14,000 were in a plague after because of the influence of that death. It caused destruction. So what we want to receive is sometime when you speak to people, and you hear, and you ask some opinion of people. When you ask too many opinions, eventually you're just gonna get shut down. Too many opinions sometimes is not the right. You have to really understand it because this is one level that we asking for. Second thing is, when you talk to people, everybody is in their own level, in their own opinion of what light is and what God is for them. Everybody thinks relationship should be this way or business should be run this way. It's not an argument of like, no, business today should be this and this and that. The marketing strategy should be this and this and that. Well, it's your opinion. It doesn't mean it's wrong. You don't have to be like, no, that's it, I'm done with them. You have to really open yourself this week to really learn from Korach. Like he didn't learn from the spy, they didn't learn from Miriam. We can learn from them. This is a lesson for us to learn. Most of us, somebody is not in my opinion, done. I speak to somebody, he says, I don't like Kabbalah, okay, I'm done with you. No, it's his opinion right now. And tomorrow, how many times you saw that you had an opinion and then next day, you change your mind about it. So now everybody will ban you because you change your mind? No, now it's my opinion now. So don't get influenced by people's opinion, or when you share with them something and they don't get your how and what, don't get influenced by that. Don't really shut down or stop. Oh, people don't want to. You need to receive this week the energy, the abilities to share the same thread, the same level of where you came from, and it will influence other people in the same time. Like, for example, I share the same message, but there are so many other people who receive it, right? Sometimes there are thousands of people online watching the same message. Each one of them get it differently. I'm not here to now, I have 20,000 people looking into this. Now, what should I say? Should I say 20 type of different ways? No. one way, one consciousness, one direction, and it will touches all different levels of opinion, all different level of consciousness that people have. Why? Because if you come from a place of unity, if you come from a place of connecting people, if you come from a place of not like arrogant and we are better than you and we know everything, you lower yourself, you come from that place and it will penetrate. It will happen at one day or the other. So again, let me go back and remind you what we connected to this week, and I think it's a beautiful level. A situation like that in history will never come back. It's going to be all the time. You should know this, and I share with you guys every year about that because it's such an important information. From today, when you have an argument with somebody, it's never going to be that you are right and they are wrong. It's a little bit right and a little bit wrong, right? There is no right war. Everybody even right now talking, there's a right war. There's no right war. Already the word war is wrong. Okay, so we're already in a place that we need to understand there is no right and wrong only. So now your argument or your disagreement should be coming from a different place of unite us, not separate us. Remind you that there is a taking and there is a receiving. These two things, you need to be clear that you are not receiving. Okay? You came to take. And when you come to take, there is an absolute chaos that is attached to that. There is a hard, tough lesson that comes from taking mentality. You want to come from receiving, make sure that the receiving have an outlet of receiving for the sake of sharing. That's making sure that you can control that. But when you come as a taker, there's only one direction. Chaos, lack of peace, worries, insecurities. After the meeting, you're always going to think what they think about me. It's going to bother you. What happened yesterday, you aren't going to be able to sleep. You know when you go to sleep and you can't sleep? It's because you had taking in the day. That's why you can't go to sleep. Your soul not going to let you sleep until you convert it, until you realize that. That's very important to understand those things. The deep part is when you're taking, there is what we call in Kabbalah achiza lachitzonim. The external is holding on you, not to let you in. Okay? So it's important for us to awaken that understanding. Spiritually is very, very powerful when you're really shifting and you're really interrogating, where am I coming from? Am I coming from my own opinion? Is it what type of advice I'm taking? Who do I listen to? And why? So this is Korach. There's many other. I recommend even to go to previous years to listen to different lessons. You know, Korach is also the word kerach. Kerach is ice. Ice. You know, sometimes when you're not coming from warmth, it's only division. Warmth is connection. Ice is division. Right? So obviously there's so many beautiful lessons and unbelievable opportunity to activate that. Not coincidental, it's in the new moon, the week of the new moon of Cancer. I just give you a hint. You remember taking, if you're looking at the Cancer, is represented by the crab. The crab have its claws, right? And when he locked them, right, you always see, like if you take a little crab, you see him stuck on the nose of someone or the ear, right? And they don't let go, right? And you try to take them out, right? Or whatever, they stuck on your finger or whatever, right? Once you're holding on taking, it's a recipe for chaos. So be aware that this is the opportunity this month coming up, and Korach give us an advance of few days to activate, to utilize that energy, and obviously be so successful this month. And we still have energy of manifestation until the next 20 days. So please accelerate these weeks. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and we'll see you a new moon. Thank you.